I'm James Liebman. I'm one of the architects for HMFH Architects, your designers. We've got some team members here. We've got Matt and Kyle and Brendan from Bond. You're wearing their hats. Give them back at the end. We've got Simon and Inger from Hill International, our OPM, Owner's Project Manager. You're also going to be hearing today from Matt, who many of you may know. Matt Meehan, who's going to be the principal for the new school, and you probably know is the principal for Adams. What I've heard is people want to see the I've given this tour a few times. People want to see my usual route, which includes a lot of the educational spaces, but that a lot of you also want to go into the kitchen, want to go into the into some of the more back of house spaces. So I'll be taking a different route than maybe I normally do, and we'll figure it out as we go. So this is, in front of you is the front entry for the new Maria Weston Chapman Middle School. Obviously, you're standing in the parking area. In front of you is the front court. Sixth grade wing is this wing over on the right. Admin and arts is the wing to the left, and the front doors are straight ahead. Let's walk into the entry court, just through the canopy, and then I'll stop and start again.
See the shades in action right now, huh?
Yeah. So all along here on the first floor is admin. We've got, main office, main office, guidance, medical, and the wraparound services center. There's a separate entrance for that around the corner. These 3 volumes that you see above you are the art rooms, and we will typically end our tour there. We'll see. Maybe we'll end our tour there, but we'll go into those. You can see along this facade with the classrooms. These are the 6th grade classrooms again. You've got these sunscreens, which block a lot of sun into the rooms, cut down significantly on glare, and the hope is cut down on the use of the shades so that as much natural light comes in as possible, but it's also made useful, right? You cut out as much glare as possible, hopefully making it so the teachers lower the shades less often. All right, let's continue in. Straight in front of us is the front door. All right, so you're right in the front entry from sort of right there, right? That way is a vestibule. There's a glass wall with doors that isn't in yet. Security desk will be right over there. It's wrapped in plastic, but that'll be the security check-in point. Once you're past the doors, you're into the first layer. This is the entry up into the cafeteria, as well as the gym entry. For obvious reasons, we've been calling that the town square. Everything else radiates out from there. 6th grade wing, 7th grade wing, 8th grade wing, gym, theater and arts wing over here. All right, so this is the media center. The first 5.5 feet will be lined with built-in bookshelves. There'll also be a circulation desk right under that small curved canopy right here. That shape is the desk below. And then there's mobile bookshelves that are basically fixed but can be moved, and they radiate out from that control point. So from the control point, you can see almost every spot within the media center, giving it control, right? Giving it visual control. There's what you're seeing in the openings is a curtain wall with glass on both sides, so there's an airspace between it. That provides a good acoustic break between this space and the cafeteria up there. And all of this that you're seeing going in, and there's more of it, but that's all acoustic material. This yellow is acoustic material, and then the white is a fabric over it. Behind you is a professional development space that can hold up to 50, I believe, with technology and a folding glass wall that is in that opening. So you can open it and it'll be wide open, or you can close it and it'll have this glass wall. There's also a workroom sort of around the corner there with high density book storage, the kind where the shelving moves and you can kind of stack it. So you get a lot of book storage over there. Above us, and we'll head over there, up here is the makerspace. It's the clean lab. We'll talk about that when we get there.
So the thinking behind this space opening up into the main media center is our current programming offers a lot of author visits, publicists coming in and speaking with students and teachers and having specialized events. So it goes to that flexibility of spaces, so you can close it off during the day and actually have PD sessions while the school's in session. If we have an author visit, it opens up, chairs move out, and we can have different types of events in a single space.
There's a lot of flexibility here, right? So there's the sort of opening up that Matt just described. There's also a projection screen just right here in the soffit that rolls down, and a projector here for smaller, for media to smaller groups out here. Yeah, there's a good amount of flexibility here. All right. So this is the cafeteria. The cafeteria is conceived of in three spaces. There's the main space that we're in, holds a lot of kids for lunch, right? But there's some variety and some choice. Down below, from where we came up, straight over there, is the lower caf. So have some lunch seating as well. And then under this volume right here, you can see kind of around the corner there, there's an under space. And that's a little bit quieter. It's open to this, so it's it's not acoustically separate, but it's a safer, smaller space for kids that need that. Surrounding this town square are the labs, what we've been calling the labs. So there's the media center and the makerspace that we talked about. Broadcast studio on the second floor of this volume here, clad in wood. The first floor here is the black box studio. And I think what we should do is walk into that next, and then we'll head over to the kitchen. And then on this side, this one gets clad in metal, not this metal, but different metal, is the Expeditionary Learning Lab on the second floor and the Culinary Lab on the first floor. We think of this, I think I've said it, but we call this the town square. There'll be a lot of activities that happen in this space, from voting to science fairs to obviously lunch. But the idea is that this is a highly flexible space for the school.
And one thing to consider is when we were designing the building, we wanted a place in a middle school where everybody can go and be oriented. So they can come to this space and there's the library, there's their labs all around them, and everything radiates from this point. So it was important for, if you think about the old Chapman, or even the new, or the current school we're in, there's no central hub for the school. It's kind of segmented into different sections. This provides a place where everybody can go and know where they are and kind of find their way moving out.
To that point, you'll notice that the wings are themed with colors, especially when we get into the wings. But so we've got sort of blue and purple wing in this direction, and that lab is clad in a blue resin panel reminiscent of sea glass. So once a student is familiar with the school and with the colors and with sort of the identity that comes with that, being in this space, there are clues throughout as to where they're supposed to be. So a sixth grader knows their wing's blue, that's blue. This wing, and this we'll go into the seventh grade wing. This wing is yellows and greens, clad in wood. It's not exactly the yellow and green paint colors, but it's got those tones. It's of that family. This is kind of a rust-colored metal, and it's red and purple in this wing. So again, there's just these clues throughout that give students hints as to where they're supposed to be, where they belong, and where they're going. All right, so this is the Black Box Studio, Theater Arts Classroom. As you can see, it is set up like a black box theater. This is kind of a flexible space that can hold a variety of different configurations for theatrical performances. It's also a teaching space, obviously. What's not in yet is the tension wire grid. So there's a large portion of this that is a tension wire grid. It's a floor. It's up at the level, sort of at the bottom of the acoustic treatment that you see. And what that is it's literally a wire grid. You can walk out on it and aim lights through it. It's made so that you can aim lights through it. It's a safe way to teach kids about lighting design, as opposed to them leaning over a catwalk, attaching things to lighting bars. They're on this sort of constant plane.
So if you think about this space in theater arts, right now we have a theater arts program inside of an auditorium. This space is designed for a variety of courses that will be taught in here. Lighting design is one. That's one that we don't do right now. We're bumping up acting. Right now they do Introduction to Theater Arts. We're going to be doing Acting 1, Acting 2, script writing, costuming, all within this space. The good thing about this relationship is the broadcast studio is right there. So they can film themselves performing and get an auto critique on that. And we're going to start learning about this space and adapt all the courses that are inside of it. When we first started thinking about what are we going to do with these labs, the performing arts were at the top because it does build confidence and provides students with all of those soft skills of 21st century learning. They engage with each other in a collaborative process, and their takeaway is repetition, memorization, feeling something, and they gain a lot of skills that they can use and transfer through other subjects. There's
a lot of evidence that kids working with theatrical arts builds empathy. Just a detail, all of these lights that you see, including the skylights, have blackout shades, so this can be, an appropriately dark space. When it's a teaching space, we hope that they're open, but when it's a performance space, you need the blackout. So most of you are standing in what is the servery. Students will filter in from both directions. They kind of come along both lines and out that way is the plan. I think there'll be a learning curve as to how exactly this operates, but it's set up for hot and cold plates and pizza, and the idea is that there's cooking and prep and serving in these lines. There's a walk-in freezer, walk-in fridge I think is the one closest to us. Walk-in freezer is the second one. Dishwashing is off through that opening that I can't see, but maybe you can. There's dry storage, a manager's office, some bathrooms, washer, dryer over there. So this is the loading dock, receiving area. There's some walls that aren't in yet, but essentially there's large roll-down doors, kind of a recycling area, a storage area at that end, and a big receiving area. Then there's a room beyond that's kind of at the orange column line, approximately. That is a custodial space, and then an outdoor storage space accessed not from in here, but from the roll-down door over there. Is that piece of equipment permanent? Looks like it. That is much bigger than I thought it was. I have to think about that. So this is starting to look familiar, right? This used to be the gym, and that we're renovating it into the new gym. It's different than it was, right? There's skylights, the glazing along the perimeter is new, a lot of new equipment. There'll be floor and new bleachers. But one of the key reasons for keeping this and renovating it was its size. The Massachusetts School Building Authority, who's part of the funding mechanism for the project, would not have allowed us to build a gym this big if we were building it new. So maintaining the existing gym, allowed for a much larger gym. There's also a fitness space, as there was before. It's the old fitness space, renovated, a weight space just beyond those doors, as well as occupational therapy and physical therapy classrooms off the wing over in that direction.
So this is a cutting edge lab. This is the Expeditionary Learning Lab. So I'm going to point out some features first and then talk about the concept. On the walls you see technology around. Those are places where groups of students can collaborate with each other in whatever project they're working on. Over here isn't necessarily a teaching wall, it's a presentation space for students to communicate their ideas. This whole lab is based on the concept of authentic real-world problems that students engage in and then collaborate together, think about it critically, and creatively come up with solutions. So it's a different way to think about an exploratory class. A lot of good things will be going on in here. A lot of voice and choice by students and guided by several teachers.
Can you explain voice and choice?
Yes.
I don't know the phrase.
Let's say the students are discussing and researching a town topic, the compressor station. So they have to do research, they have to discover their ideas. When it comes to presenting their problem and what their solution might be, they have a variety of avenues to communicate that. They can do a traditional presentation, they can do a video, they can act something out, they can write a paper. All of them have the same rigor that the teacher sets, but they get to choose which avenue they can communicate their idea with.
In a lot of the labs, you're going to see this in some of them that we're still heading to, you'll see this detail, this light trough, skylights, and this shape to the ceiling that brings light sort of deeper in. That's because these labs obviously are landlocked, right? They're not on an exterior wall. We can't have windows to the outside. So any opportunity to bring natural light into the space. We're also stealing natural light, obviously, from the cafeteria, from the town square. But again, just any opportunity to bring natural light into the teaching spaces is great. The walls are as thick as they are because they're acoustic, right? There's 2 layers of acoustic separation between here and the cafeteria. There's also 2 layers of glass that will be put in there. The airspace is key to that acoustic separation. What you see here, sort of, is the van loop. So what will happen is the special needs vans will line up here at a separate entrance, which you see right below here. This is their immediate access. The canopy extends out over so it has rain cover, and that brings all the students together, gives a separate entrance. It's a little bit quieter, doesn't have the crush of 1,400 kids, but brings them together into the same central space at the town square. So as I described, this is the van loop, separate from where the buses will line up. Secondary entrance, treated very similarly to the main entrance. It's not lesser, it's just separate. And again, it combines into the same central space. It'll have the similar signage on top. It's got the canopy concept similar to the front. You also, on this side, see some of the vertical sunscreens. As we walked in, you saw the horizontal ones. This depends on which direction the windows are facing. To block sun, you need a different orientation and even different amounts of it. There are faces with vertical sunscreens that have many more of them than this face has. This is the culinary lab. This is a teaching space. Matt can tell you more about the specifics of what will be taught here, but there's ovens that will go on in here, ovens on this side, obviously lots of prep prep islands, prep along the perimeter with sinks. There's a dishwashing area back here, as well as a walk-in, it's a single unit walk-in fridge freezer. And then back that way is a teaching space, more of a classroom piece of it for more traditional teaching.
So the theory behind this is that most of the time the students will be learning about food science, dietary, nutrition, cultural connections with food. They'll be learning here, prepping here, and then finally cooking there. That's over a multiple day situation. And then finally, with interests after school and clubs, they may be preparing meals for people who want to come in and eat the wonderful food that they'll be developing. Some of the courses that we're already teaching in here next year is Intro to Culinary Lab, which is dietary nutrition. So trying to understand what kind of food is the best for you. Taught in health and wellness as well. Farm to table is one that's going to be taught because we have established relationships with local farms, which will be bringing in food in the fall and the spring, and students will be creating dishes from that. And cultural connections, trying to connect with all the different cultures of our school and students making food from their ethnic backgrounds. So very exciting space. We're very excited about an opportunity that isn't traditionally seen in a middle school, a full culinary lab. Most of the time it's at high school and CTE programs.
So this is a typical they're the typical 7th and 8th grade classroom. So ELA, world language, math, history. Yeah. You'll see some things in here that are very typical for, a ton of the spaces within the school. Pendant lights with direct and indirect light, so the ceiling feels bright. Feature wall with a different paint color depending on the wing, depending on the floor, related to the theme color. Casework along the feature wall, always in maple. This is obviously storage. It's a standing workspace. It's it's got teacher storage. It's also the air delivery, right? So there's ducts in this piece here. There's a duct that drops down and serves air here. It's called displacement ventilation. Air is delivered slow and low. It rides along the floor. It's able to be, you can cool it to a higher temperature than if you're delivering a more traditional delivery from above, which means it's more efficient, right? You don't have to cool the air to quite as low a temperature. It rides along the floor and it looks for a chimney. That's you and me. We're heat, right? So it finds that heat point. The heat is rising. It rides, that cooler air rides up us and up to return air, which is in that step in the ceiling. It does a couple of things. It's an efficient air delivery method. It also takes particulate with it. So germs and yucky stuff gets lifted up and brought out. The air has less particulate in it with this kind of delivery. You can see the large windows, a lot of natural light, some of the solar control that we pointed out on the outside of the building. Obviously at this time of day, this classroom doesn't need it, but other times of day it does.
So 7th grade is 5-person teacher teams. So in this wing, you would have a science classroom, ELA, history, math, world language, and special education. This room next to us over here, I believe, is life skills. So the special education rooms that are typically separate are embedded on the teams. 7th and 8th grade share the 5-person teams. The other unusual piece is world language is actually embedded on the team. Typically, it's not. It's spread out throughout the school, or there's a single area for world language. We made the conscious effort of getting that world language on the interdisciplinary team so those teachers can understand the students that they serve.
I guess before we go to science, we've come all the way to the end of the wing. This is the neighborhood collaborative area. It's a project area, but it's a lot more than that. I'm going to talk about it for a minute. When we were out at the front entry, you may have noticed that at the end of the 6th grade wing, there was a big glass curtain wall, similar to this one. That was looking into this. At the end of every academic wing is a space similar to this one. The neighborhood collaborative area is a couple of things. It's project areas for project-based work that happens back in there and above there. That's spill out. It's not owned. There's no teacher that owns it, but it's spill out from the classroom. So all sorts of project-based learning can happen there, as well as collaborative work between teachers. This space, this double height space, is a presentation area. So so this is where students will share what they've learned and speak publicly. There's whiteboard here, whiteboard paint here, so they can write on the walls here. And then this opens to reveal nothing. Opens to reveal technology, right? A monitor for presentations.
That's on classrooms locked. To remember about this space too is that this area is for presentation, not only for students, but for teachers as well. So a lot of the spaces that we have professional development in will be in these end room spaces now where teachers can present their ideas and share their work. Also, large assemblies, you can line students up along the stairs, on the plinth, along the railings. You can fit over 150 students, so that's a whole team of students to present some ideas.
So this is a science classroom. As you can see, there's lots of casework along the perimeter. Workspaces, tables will sort of push up, and there'll be peninsulas, table peninsulas for science work. Similar casework against the feature wall with these sliding whiteboards and storage behind those. There's obviously a variety of sinks, safety showers, eye wash, teaching wall with monitor over here. Other than that, it's in many ways very similar to a standard classroom.
This is the makerspace. Makerspace is a creative space. This is a clean creative space. So we're talking about makey, which is human interface with computers. Kids actually make joysticks. They create robots. They build them. They program them. They test them. They do modeling and design. So they learn about the engineering design cycle with many different projects. Our first year in here, we plan on running modeling and design and robotics. When students enter this, they enter in each grade. Their primary focus will be on creativity in the engineering design process, principally around programming and robotics.
Some features you can see that same detail with the light trough. This is the space we looked at from the media center. This looks out into that tall space of the media center. There's also a workroom over here that'll house 3D printers, a couple of 3D printers, and a laser engraver. There's also this grid that you're looking at, which will have pull-down electric coils and lights, primarily. Obviously, this is the theater. It's built as a state-of-the-art theater, 24 rigging positions that you see going in. We won't be able to get on the stage this trip. 842 seats, catwalk system, lots of acoustic material yet to go in. You hear my voice, that's not what you want. Lots of acoustic material still to go in. You can see reflectors, those black curved elements in the ceiling, which take sound from the stage and bounce it deeper into the space. We're obviously up on the balcony. There's about 300 seats, 320 seats up on the balcony and the balcony boxes. The idea is that the theater is set up to house obviously middle school performances, but also high school performances, local theater performances, theatrical competitions, like district, regional-wide competitions. Through that very large opening, that'll end up being a 10-foot by 16-foot door, leading to another 10-foot by 16-foot door into the wood shop. That wood shop can second as the scene shop. We have anything to add on that? No, I think so. Okay. One of the things, I mean, it's a big theater. 842 seats is a big theater. One of the key design goals was to make it feel a little bit more intimate. Every seat has great sight lines to the stage. You know, for a theater this big, sitting up on the balcony from this far, I'm closer to the stage than in some. We did that by making it wide and by using the balcony mechanism, rather than simply a lot of school auditoria are one floor and just keep going, and you end up way far back. This push, because there are seats below us, right? So this lifts and put that back area and pushes it forward, so we're closer to the stage. From up here, you feel a little bit further away from the stage. You actually feel pretty well connected to the audience. I think that at the very last row, you'll start to feel a little further away, but I think we've successfully made this feel intimate for its size, for a 842 seat auditorium. Okay, there's 3 art classrooms. This is the last one along the row. You saw those from the entry court. There were the 3 metal volumes hanging out over the entry court. This is the end one, so it benefits from a little bit of extra natural light, although they all feel very full of natural light. The clear story up here brings northern light in, which is great for art classrooms. This one will have the pottery wheels in it and a kiln in the workroom behind you. You can see that there's cleanup space and storage space, sinks, art storage, pottery storage. I still think this is one of my favorite rooms. I don't know if that's going to change, but I've been saying it for a while. Right now, this is my favorite room in the school. I just think it's an amazing teaching space. This is the band room. The one over is the chorus. So it's a big musical teaching space. It has a special ceiling that kind of deals with the sound and reflects the sound so that you don't get a constant, so that you get a good reverberation time. There's acoustic treatment still to go in on the walls, instrument storage, obviously a teaching wall over there where the monitor box is. Anything else?
No, it's the first time. We have a band room now that's primarily for instrument music. This time we're separating out chorus, which opens up another space where students can perform. We don't have a chorus right now, so we're adding another program to the school. We're excited about it. Every 6th grader will go through it, and then in 7th and 8th grade, they'll have options to be in the chorus or select chorus or show chorus, they're saying. And there's already students lined up for 7th and 8th grade to be in the show chorus. So we're super excited.
And obviously they'll all perform out on that stage.